782 points. That is the score American Express's Centurion Lounges earned to finish first in J.D. Power's 2025 U.S. Airport Lounge Benchmark Study, the highest-rated lounge network in the country on a 1,000-point scale. It is also the network that has spent the last 2 years adding rule after rule to keep its own cardholders from getting in. That is not a contradiction. It is the whole story of American airport lounges right now told in one data point. J.D. Power's own analyst put it plainly. Michael Taylor, who runs the firm's travel research, said that expanded access through credit card perks has fueled demand for lounges, and that the demand has brought, in his words, the unfortunate side effect of increased crowding. The credit card boom turned lounge access into a mass benefit, and mass demand broke the lounges. The result is a strange split in the market. Some of the highest-rated lounges in America are now the hardest to actually use, and some of the best experiences are the ones almost nobody can get into. Today we are going through 5 airport lounges and lounge networks whose access has gotten harder, more crowded, or more expensive, and 5 that still deliver the experience you are paying for. No brand on this list paid us. This is purely our research. Welcome to the Hidden Boarding Pass. 5 is the American Express Centurion Lounge Network, and it is here precisely because it is so good. It topped the J.D. Power study at 782. The food, the design, the staff, all of it rates at the top. That is exactly why it is overcrowded, and exactly why Amex keeps narrowing the door. Centurion Lounges already charge a guest fee of $50 per adult and $30 per child for many cardholders, on top of the near $700 annual fee for the card that gets you in. They already enforce a rule that you cannot enter more than 3 hours before your flight. And starting July 8, 2026, Amex is adding 2 more restrictions, capping lounge access during a layover at 5 hours before departure, and requiring that complimentary guests be on the same flight as the card member. Every one of those changes is something Amex describes as a response to overcrowding. There is also the entry we covered in our airport food investigation where the Atlanta Centurion Lounge, the largest in the world when it opened, failed a county health inspection within its first year, with flies at the bar and a dirty ice machine before later passing a re-inspection. For the Platinum cardholder who pays that annual fee partly for this lounge and now pays again just to bring a spouse, the best-rated lounge network in America is also the one working hardest to manage the crowd it created. 4 is the Delta Sky Club. It tied for second in the J.D. Power study at 773. So again, this is not a bad lounge. It is a heavily restricted one. On February 1st, 2025, Delta changed the math on credit card access. An American Express Platinum cardholder now gets 10 Sky Club visits per year. A Delta Reserve cardholder gets 15. The only way to unlock unlimited access is to spend $75,000 on the card in a calendar year. Once you use up your allotment, each additional visit costs $50, and you still cannot enter more than 3 hours before departure. Think about what that means for the traveler who chose a card specifically for the lounge. A few years ago, a Delta Sky Club was somewhere you walked into on any trip. Now it is a budget, you spend down 10 or 15 visits at a time, and then you pay at the door. Delta made that change to address crowding that had affected the clubs for years, and on that narrow point, it is honest. But the result is that one of the most valued perks in travel quietly became a punch card. Hold that thought, because later in this video, the same airline shows up on the buy side with a lounge it built to a completely different standard. 3 is the United Club, and the numbers tell the story. United Clubs finished last among the 7 networks J.D. Power studied at 705, and United has been moving in the wrong direction on access at the same time. On March 24, 2025, the price of a standard United Club membership rose to $750 a year, up from $650, with a new all-access tier at $1,400. Entry requires a same-day boarding pass on United or a partner airline. And United limited one-time pass holders to entering within 3 hours of departure, a change it tied directly to overcrowding. Travel reporting describes United Club locations posting banners that turn one-time pass travelers away when the lounge is full. For the occasional flyer who bought a single-day pass as a treat before a long trip, that banner at the door is the documented reality. You can hold a valid pass and still not get in. A membership that costs more every year, a lounge that rates last in its category, and a door that closes when it gets busy is a combination worth knowing about before you pay for it. 2 is the American Airlines Admirals Club. It landed in the middle of the J.D. Power study at 753, but its 2024 rule changes made it meaningfully less useful for the exact travelers who relied on it most. As of April 1st, 2024, Admirals Club access is tied to upcoming American or One World flight segments and a same-day boarding pass. International business class travelers can only use the lounge if they have an onward international flight. One-day pass entry can be denied based on lounge capacity, and membership prices went up in 2024. The people most affected are connecting passengers. The Admirals Club used to be a place you could duck into on a long layover or before a partner flight. The new rules narrowed that to upcoming American-operated segments, which means the lounge you remember from a few years ago may simply not let you in on the same itinerary today. Lifetime members are exempt from the same-day flight requirement, which is its own quiet signal about who the rules are really for. For the loyal American flyer who treated the Admirals Club as a layover home base, the entry rules are the part of the membership that changed without much announcement. One is Priority Pass, and it earns the top of this list because it is the access most likely to fail at the exact moment you are counting on it. Priority Pass is bundled into a long list of premium credit cards, which is precisely the problem. So many cards include it that its lounges became the most oversold in the airport. A Priority Pass lounge can, and regularly does, turn members away when it is at capacity, because it prioritizes its own airline's first class and elite passengers over the cardholders streaming in from the outside. You can hold the card, walk up to the desk, and get waved off. The benefit has also quietly lost features. Effective August 1st, 2019, American Express removed Priority Pass non-lounge access for its U.S. cardholders, the restaurant and bar credits that let you spend about $28 on a meal when the lounges were full. That was part of the same overcrowding response that reshaped every network on this list. What is left is a benefit whose entire value depends on getting through the door in the airports where getting through the door is least likely. A lounge pass that may not get you into the lounge is the cleanest example on this list of a perk that looks better on the card than it works at the airport. You have heard the 5 lounges and networks where access has gotten harder, more crowded, or more expensive. Now let us tell you about 5 that still deliver the experience you are paying for. Subscribe to the Hidden Boarding Pass and hit the notification bell. Let us finish this. 5 on the buy side is the Alaska Lounge. Alaska operates 9 lounges and it scored 748 in the J.D. Power study, in the same range as the big networks without the same crowding spiral. Reviewers at the Points Guy called Alaska's new San Francisco lounge possibly the best in its entire network. The reason it makes the buy side is access. Alaska sells day passes and a straightforward membership, so you do not need elite status or a $75,000 spending year to use it. For the West Coast traveler who wants a calm, well-rated lounge without chasing a mega brand network, Alaska is the easiest, honest recommendation on this list. 4 is the Chase Sapphire Lounge by the club. It scored 771 in the J.D. Power study, just behind the top tier, and reviewers consistently single out one thing: the food. Several call it the best food of any lounge network in the United States, with menus at some locations built around well-known restaurant names. There are 8 locations open so far, including Las Vegas, New York's JFK and LaGuardia, and Philadelphia, with more announced. Access comes through the Chase Sapphire Reserve and certain Chase cards. For the traveler who actually wants to eat a real meal before a flight rather than graze a buffet, the Sapphire Lounge is the one reviewers point to. 3 is the Capital One Lounge, the strongest newcomer in the category. Capital One opened its first lounge at Dallas-Fort Worth in 2021 and now runs about 7 lounges and grab-and-go spaces, and it tied for second in the J.D. Power study at 773, matching Delta and beating Chase. The lounges feature locally inspired food and drink, and select locations add shower rooms and private office suites. Access comes through the Capital One Venture X and Venture Cards. A brand that did not operate a single lounge 5 years ago now rates at the top of the category, which is the clearest sign of where the momentum in this business has gone. 2 is the United Polaris Lounge, and here the standard jumps. This is not the United Club from earlier in this video. The Polaris Lounge is United's premium business class lounge at Newark, Chicago O'Hare, Houston, San Francisco, and Washington Dulles, with a la carte dining, shower suites, and quiet rest areas. Reviewers describe it as arguably the superior individual lounge experience in U.S. aviation, more spacious and more refined than a standard club. There is one honest catch. You generally need an international business or first-class ticket on United, or a partner to get in, not a credit card. This is a must-visit if you qualify, and proof that the same airline running the lowest-rated club in the study can also build one of the best lounges in the country. One is the Delta One Lounge, the gold standard right now and the perfect bookend to this entire episode. Remember that Delta capped Sky Club credit card access in 2025. At the same time Delta was building this, the Delta One Lounge, with restaurant-style table service where food is cooked to order rather than set out on a buffet, wellness facilities, and a level of polish reviewers rate above almost anything else flying. There are locations at JFK, Los Angeles, Boston, and Seattle, where Delta opened its 8th in January 2026. Reviewers at Travel Update describe the service at the JFK location as much warmer and more polished than the competing premium lounges. The same catch applies as with Polaris. You generally need a Delta One International Business Class ticket to enter, not a card. The same company that turned the Sky Club into a punch card built the best lounge in its history and put it behind the front cabin. That is not an accident. That is the strategy. 3 things to check before you count on any lounge. First, confirm you can actually get in. The rules changed across 2024 and 2025, so verify your card's current visit allotment and whether access now requires a same-day boarding pass on a specific airline. The assumptions you had 2 years ago are probably wrong. Second, know the difference between a credit card lounge and a premium cabin lounge. The best lounges in the country, the Delta One and the Polaris, are generally for international business class flyers, not card holders, so never choose a card expecting access to a lounge you cannot enter. Third, treat Priority Pass as a maybe, not a guarantee, and keep a backup plan rather than building a tight connection around a lounge meal you might be turned away from. The number that opened this video, the 782 that made Centurion the best-rated lounge network in America, is the same number that explains why it keeps restricting access. The lounges travelers rate the highest are the ones the crowds found first. The trick now is not finding a highly rated lounge. It is finding one that will actually let you in and knowing the difference before you pay for the card. Share this video with someone who picked a credit card for the lounge access and has been turned away at the door. If the hidden boarding pass has been valuable to you, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. And remember, the truth is not always on the boarding pass.